Now ready for battle.
Alright. Give me 1 second while it loads in. So, Soldier 76 gameplay. I want to talk about it. One Punch Man scan, okay.
Even after all you went through.
If I am called, and I do not answer, what is left, Anna?
You are left, Reinhardt.
I thought you said they switched to Pharaoh, but it looks like they're already on Pharaoh. But we'll see what happens. Probably don't think the game is loud, but
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Thanks. Bionic shield is ready for use. Tactical termination.
yeah, I like this forward aggression. I would save missile till after blink.
Better. Taking the point.
You know, the-
Watch my six.
G'day, mate.
I mean, the DPS kind of fed themselves to you, so. Yeah, the standing around, I would not recommend standing around and like waiting for damage.
A captured.
But
Escort.
overall, they're double fly. Oh, I see. They were fair initially, and then they switched to Echo. So, eventually they go to Echo.
You picked the wrong enemy.
Good job. I would have visored her, but yeah, I would say you probably missed a great visor opportunity. Let's go here real fast and just reflect on it a little bit. I'd say here you saw the Maywell ice block, and you see like the Echo like trying to come up and over. Like if they're going to push out into this space, this is a really good spot to visor. Like when they're here, right? Like when they're becoming aggressive, it's okay to ult. Like you can usually outrun May's Blizzard, which you do. The moment she uses her flight to like gain altitude, I would have just visored right here and then, because at worst she's going to have to like come down here to like escape, but chances are she's not going to live that long because you're just going to shoot her out of the sky. And since May already used her ice block and you get that Echo kill, it's going to make her Blizzard feel a lot less powerful, so she might not even use it. You could save your Rein. It's perfectly okay to take this advantage. Like, if you can control this space, it's way more beneficial to your team because pushing out from underneath the bridge is hard. So don't reset to retake this space if you already have it. They're spending resources to try to take it from you. Just go ahead and spend the resources to keep it. Okay. But
Come get healed.
see, like, you guys fall back because you're like, oh, it's safe. But it's like, yeah, it's safe because of the Blizzard. But if we could have kept them out from using the Blizzard, or maybe gone to the other side, then, like, we don't have to give them this. Otherwise, though, pretty good control. Yeah, you're
Fall in here.
doing decent. No complaints so far, really. I mean,
Can't stop here. There's glory on tonight.
Taste of poison.
I know your tank's gone, but you don't have to, like, completely serious.
I've been doing this for years. Who the hell are you? My ultimate is ready.
Yeah, I would have visored, right? Still a good time to visor.
That warms the bones. If I'm still standing,
I think your choice to
I'm
not
still
visor
alive.
in either of those fights is dramatically affecting your ability to
Heeded the payload.
like your value. Like your value's been good, like in non-alt, but in team fights it's not as good
Not escape me.
at the moment.
tactical
And you
visor.
see that platform.
I've got you in my sights. Good effect on hostile. Fields
And walking out of your field is usually detrimental. If you have the focus of the tank like that, my best suggestion to you is to not aim at him and just
they'll regret that.
strafe back and forth, strafe in circles, like just go completely, but in your sprinting mode, right?
Thanks, mate. Greetings.
Just do it, yeah. Just go nuts and just like make yourself impossible to hit. Don't worry about aiming because your teammates were there. They can just beat on the Ramatra. But I mean, it's a very minor thing. It doesn't really matter at that point. But
Much better. That's better. I'm on fire. Not good enough. Thank you, my friend.
I would say, there, for example, take a little more time to aim. Like, the Life Orb is not even looking at you, so there's no need to, like, outstrafe him or, like, outthink it. You can just,
Feeling ground.
you can just put the pressure on and aim for the head. Maybe, like, work on making sure those are headshots instead of just no shots. Yeah, if there's a Ramatra ulting onto you, you should probably run away, but I do see what you mean by I felt like he was coming after you, but
I've seen tougher spots.
I think he probably recognized you as danger because you had
I must return to my
your
post.
ult
Powered
again.
up.
Valkyries almost
So
ready.
yeah, I would focus you too.
Time again to try again.
Alright. This is silver. I'm kind of impressed that people are actually waiting for their teammates and stuff. It's crazy the level, how far low level play has come.
Thanks.
Yeah, I almost never see teammates group up in this capacity. Yeah, the backpedaling is not enough against the Ramatra. I'd say like more strafing in your dodge. Go in there, ult them right now. No, don't even.
Good choice.
Don't give up your element of surprise just to like do a little bit more damage. It's okay to ult there and like not jump over the ledge and just punish the enemy, and you guarantee punish him. The Life Weaver can't. He has no abilities that solve the visor. So their team has like no real good answer for visor at all. Like you're up against a pretty ideal comp. Like even like Echo can be kind of annoying in her own way, but she also can't really deal with Soldier all that well. Like if you're zoning her hard enough. And they already had the attention of everyone else. When you get to that corner, like here, just you should just shut up shop. Like you come here knowing that like you're like, okay, the enemies can't see me and no one's focusing me. I'm gonna go take this like really advantageous position. Like you see the opportunity like formed there. So you don't have your healing thing, but usually what you want to do is like if you hit X, it'll say like I need healing, right? And if you do that, chances are healers are going to look at you even if you are full health, right? So they'll at least, but then when you use your visor, they're going to be like, they can make the connection. It's like, okay, I need to help protect my soldier while he uses his ult, right? You just hope that happens. Like maybe it doesn't happen, but in the time, if you would have had visor, like if you deployed it right now, and like you saw the Life Weaver, he has a 0 chance of escaping here. Like he cannot. There's nothing he can do to not die to you. Instead, you're just shooting and missing. Also, I think your sensitivity's too high.
Good choice. Good choice.
I've been kind of watching it, and let's go back just a little bit. I want to slow it down just so you can kind of see what it is I'm talking about here. I don't have the fine smooth on, but this should be enough, right? So you see, you identify the correct target, right? You aim past him. You go too far. Like you see him walking in one direction and you're now aiming past him. Then you go to start shooting him and you immediately overcorrect. So you've now overcorrected twice on one target, a slow moving target. That's usually a sign that your sensitivity might be a little too high. So that, or it could just be poor mechanical tracking. Like we said, this is silver, so I'm not going to hold you that hard to these things, but I would say that you've shot 5 shots and you haven't hit them yet. So usually not good use of the ammo. Like look how many times you have overcorrected. Actually, there's even more of that going on. So let's start over. So we go, right? So you see him? 1, 2. You kind of overcorrected here again. 3. Like you're aiming around your target. You actually haven't hit him yet. But then you went back to shoot the missile. So that was 4. And now you're back over here again, which is 5. Like you still haven't hit him. And you still haven't hit him. Like you didn't hit him once in that whole exchange. And I think it's because you overcorrected too much. Maybe you're panicking a little bit, or maybe it's your sensitivity's too high, or maybe your tracking's bad. It could be a couple of these things, but you're punishing yourself essentially. Like that was a good value, and you have an ult that kind of negates all of that. So just use it. Don't put yourself in that high pressure situation to get extreme value without using your ult. I was just reviewing a VOD last night, and it's kind of the same thing where it's like you guys are trying to create so much value without using your ult when you could just use your ult and create that value. Stop thinking from like the I gotta get the best value out of my ult. Just get 1 kill with your ult. Just do it. Like in Overwatch, a 4v5 is a lot easier to win than a 5v5. The Echo's already ulting, so technically if we think about it as like a resource tank, right? If you have 2 fuel tanks for each team, and 5v5 like means you both pretty much have a full tank, depending on how many resources on each team is used, right? Every time you use an ability, you spend from that gas tank. But if you use an ultimate, you're about to spend a lot of gas, right? Because ultimates are very valuable. But they temporarily overfill the tank, so to speak. So Echo, being in her Junkrat form, getting her Junkrat ult, means that she's spending a lot. She's about to burn a lot of the team's resources, because like from a simple standpoint, she's the only one with ult, which means if you can survive that at this moment, chances are you could win the game if you had used your ult to counter her ult, right? Like you could have won this point because you could have killed Lifeweaver and then maybe done damage to Echo and got her out of that Junkrat form, because your team would have been able to like apply pressure instead of like this retreat you're about to do. I know you're kind of like nervous about this Reaper. I'm actually kind of surprised you even know he's there, but basically, I mean, he's pretty loud. He has loud footsteps. But if you would have, but like you could have swung this game, you could have swung this whole fight into your team's favor just by ulting and just like getting the Lifeweaver, and then maybe the Echo, and then maybe getting Wraith out of Reaper. or blink out a Moira. You know, like those things add up eventually, and then suddenly their team has now used all their resources to not die to your ult, and your team has like now you're on more even ground, right? Because right now you guys are on uneven ground because their defense, they have a better defensive position, but you had a better position for a moment there, but they're using Junkrat ult, so it's okay to ult. You know, if you think you're gonna think about the space in which players are existing and what we consider good space and bad space. I'll do this as well. So if we come out here, right now, this is like it seems like a good position, but it's not really that good a position. It's only a good position because your team is still working their way down this way. Like, you can make them spend your team has to spend resources, right, to come down this way to them. But the other team is spending resources to try to keep you out, right? Ideally, actually, the technical play would be to, maybe not technical, but one option is this: she's ulting, just leave, just disengage and leave this fight. You don't gain anything from fighting here, but I think it's worth it because you guys are close to a point. And you can start what we call a stagger effect. So, like, imagine you kill the Lifeweaver here, right? Like, you had come up here and here, and you had ulted and killed this Lifeweaver. Now they only have 4 players. One's already coming back, so he's already kind of staggered. Like, he's going to come back to the fight late. And then these people are now out of position when their Lifeweaver dies because now they have to like run back here or they have to run over here to the Mega, which means your team can collapse on them, and then the teammates who are respawning have to like come to them. So if they want to rejoin up with their team, they have to go through all this open space. Whereas you don't really have to go anywhere. Your teammates are all right here with you. Oh, big wide open space. Great place to practice shooting targets. All right, so I think there's enough insight for now. We can just go back to playing.
Good choice.
Is this 1-0? Ooh, almost. That's good. It's a fight reset at that point anyway.
Join with me. Point 7.
God, I
I
didn't
love
realize
some
how
dirt on
loud,
it.
how
Let's
noisy
go.
it is in the... It's like Grand Central Station here. Dude, are you cheating?
I've got you in my sights. For the Crusaders!
My power emanates.
Dog, what? How do you aim like that? I gotta see this again. Alright, so you're running back, right?
The payload is stopped. See to it.
I'm here to support.
Right, you're thinking like, okay, I'm gonna check these corners. But you look directly at that Macho through the wall.
What's stirring you? Pain is inevitable.
I mean, you miss. I mean, it's whatever. Maybe if someone
Oh,
pinged him. I think you can see pings in replay, I'm pretty sure.
Sing, put them in the ground.
The cure for all the ails.
It was just weird because it looked like you locked onto the Moira and then you went to the Echo and then you but yeah, those are normal sightlines, so there's nothing actually weird. It just was like the way with your fast sensitivity just feels weird to me.
I've got you in my sights.
Oh, we already saw this. We're gonna die to this. It happens. Okay.
Fall in for here.
In terms of that ult, yeah, it was good against the Echo. but
Heightening your
their team hadn't really spent resources yet.
30 seconds remaining.
I don't tolerate defeat.
My ultimate is ready. Continue.
And yeah, see, instead of being low ground here, you could be like taking high ground. And I know that like you'd probably just drop down from it, but like you would spot that Reaper like trying to pull a fast one on your team, especially since he's got that Blossom. I would say it's less of that the tank is focusing you and more like you're making yourself the tank's target. Like Ramatra's trying to exist and like find opportunities to create, right?
Trace ahead.
You just keep showing up. You just keep showing up to his doorstep, and you're like, hey,
Round 1 complete.
do you want a soldier? Like, let me put it this way. Let's look at it from Ramatra's perspective. Ramatra up until this point hasn't really shot anyone. Like he just saw the Mercy, and he's like, I don't have a target at the moment. He's just like, he sees you, and he's like, okay, well, you got a Mercy. You're kind of scary, so I'm not gonna go in there just yet. I'm gonna just wiggle you out. Now he sees the Reinhardt, so now he knows like the fight's about to ramp up. So he has an idea of where the Reinhardt is, but he doesn't really like. He can fight Reinhardt, but he doesn't really like. The tanks don't really want to fight each other most of the time. You create that opportunity, and he's like, your Reinhardt doesn't respond to the Ramatra. He's like, I'm gonna just go and do the point because we're about to run out of time. So the Ramatra knows you're here on this corner, and he's like, I'm just gonna go for you. Yep.
Remaining.
Mercy looks away because she's like, I gotta go protect Reinhardt. So you just end up in a position that you don't want to be in. But even though he's died, he's killed you, and the Reaper, who like I said, was he waiting up here this whole time? Yeah. So the whole time you're fighting down here, this Reaper is literally just sitting up here, just waiting
10
for
seconds remaining.
a good opportunity. It's over. He's like, okay, I'll just wait. He sees an opportunity, uses Wraith for no reason, but gets his double, guaranteeing them that they're gonna win this fight. Alright, so anyway. That's what I was trying to say, is like it's okay to go high ground there, because then there's a chance you could push that Reaper out and you don't give him that up. You make it harder for him to get that opportunity to
Initiating match. Ready for battle.
so much downtime in between
Ready
rounds.
for battle.
Hell yeah. Alright.
5,
Let's see how your defense goes.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Do not let them through.
Defend objective A.
You hear the boost. I mean, you are kind of looking off into oblivion. I mean, so yeah, okay. Bro, I don't know. I was just, it's just, you have incredible sense for a silver player. That's you. I would say when you're here, consider being like, you start here initially, that's fine when they're like pushing out from spawn and they're going this way, but you don't want to stay here forever. And plus, especially if you don't know where their tank is going. Their tank gets a free rotation through top. Like, if this was a higher rank and you saw the tank kind of go up there, because like you guys were standing there, right? He didn't just like sneak by you and go up there. He like walked past you. So the obvious choice would be to actually be aggressive here and like go in and like kill the teammates while the Ramatra's like going on a field trip, right? Or you can rotate and be in a better position to help deny, because you know there's a Pharah. Like you saw it earlier, right? So like the fear is that she's going to use the high area to come over, and then holding this area is not going to do your team a whole lot of good because you're going to be flanked by a Pharah who's going to come over the high ground. Like she's going to come over top the subway and just start shooting down at you. Reaper can just escape. Moira can blink away. So they're like not really in a position to be like chased, right? Other than like the Life Weaver, who's like gonna play back. He's gonna be way back there not doing anything. But the fact that all 5 of you don't know that this Ramattra is already above you, like he just gets a free pounce under the Mercy. Like eventually Junk looks at him and like bounces him up, but yeah, you're focusing the correct target here, but you switch over to help try to deal with the Ramattra. But I would say moving up here and isolating your potential target, like make it so that the Pharah has to like come over and not do, because this is like really risky, right? She's basically challenging you to be like, I don't think you can aim at me, and because she doesn't even have like another support other than Life Weaver. Life Weaver's okay with Pharah, but your Junkrat won't be able to do much. So you should leave the scary targets like that to Junkrat, because your bullets aren't going to do much against his armor, especially in Nemesis form. You should be you switched targets when you had a perfectly good target to kill, and I don't think that was the play. I think you should have stayed on that Pharah, because you could have denied her, and she's not even going to get healed at this moment, so you could probably clean up. Like, she still doesn't get healed, so like you already had the advantage, and you give it up to fight those guys, right? Your Reinhardt's doomed, but that's just how that goes. Yeah, I think you guys weren't ready for this, how this fight was going to play out, and their fast aggression really caught you guys off guard. The Ramattra rotating top there was just too valuable. But if one of you were up there, I'm just going to throw this out there. If you think none of your teammates are watching any of the other points, it's okay as a soldier to watch them on your own, because, right, you have your own heal up station, you can run, you can pretty much escape most scenarios. And I think you should work on your escape a little bit more, because, like, for example, there, when the Pharah, like, when the fight started going south, you could have ran away, but would it have mattered? Probably not. But you could have. And who knows how that plays out. Yeah, you don't want to usually think too far into like the what could have happened if I did X, because that just changes how all the other variables play out. So, but if you work on your survivability, it certainly helps. And yeah, so your team is not responding appropriately to the aggression of the attacking team. Like, the attacking team senses weakness, it looks like, and it might even be you, I'm not sure, but you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, right? Let's go back just a little bit. Let me go here. Okay, we pull up. All right, so before this fight's like really, this is like moments before disaster, right? Yeah, they're about to start ulting you guys, so all that. The problem is that you're shooting downrange, right? You're shooting at like kind of these enemies, and like you saw the Pharah come from over here to over here, like, so you know she's rotating, right? Your team is in an awful, this is what I was talking about before, where silver players seem to be like, yeah, you're good at, like, you're no longer keeping them out of this area, right? Because they have technically 6 players. I didn't know that spinned with the mouse. That's so weird. Sorry. you're not really denying them this area anymore. And they have the extra healing from the cart. So they have more pressure in this area. Like this is their space, right? So let's look at your space. Now, you guys could be up here. Now blocking this space because you can no longer really block this space. Now you're kind of in the space they want to move into. So the attacking team benefits from you guys being kind of at an evil... Right now, you guys are out on an uneven playing field, even though the ground is flat. Why? Because A, they get this natural cover that they can climb up onto and take advantage of, other than like Bap and Junk who can like jump up there, but obviously they're not doing that. Your Reese is trying to hold them out of this area, which doesn't like, again, let's say like they do ult onto you, obviously, but if like hypothetically, let's say this is like high level, right? And you guys are like fighting here and they ult onto you, your options for retreat are like non-existent. You can't go under the bridge. There's no cover down here. You have to climb up here. It takes too long to get to the high ground by just walking, right? For other than like, oh, soldier can run up there. It's fine. But you have no distance between you and the enemy, which means like if they pounce, you have nowhere to run to. Like you could retreat over to the mega, but even trying to get up to the stairs here to like go around is, you know, isolating you from your team. Like your team essentially has nowhere to, like you're already fully committed to this fight and they have ults and you don't. Moira will get her ult and use it, I believe. The tree makes a great distraction piece, so they recognize, like Pharah recognized that, and she was like, okay, and it'll heal me while I'm ulting. So she's like, I'm gonna bounce in, I'm gonna like kill the target, like because you're gonna be the next one to get ult, right? So she recognizes that, and she kills you, like making sure she gets value out of it with you. She didn't get a chance to turn on to the other enemies, but this is what happens. But they also, Reaper also ults, and he just gets so much value. Oh my gosh, that's probably play of the game right there.
Receive my aid.
Need to group up before we push back out there.
So yeah, I don't think you're taking advantage of high ground. I haven't really seen you go high ground at all. Go bully this Ram. Get him out of here. You should ult that Pharah.
There they are. Get ready.
Careful, we're outnumbered. My ultimate is ready. I'm a man on a mission. Stay out of my way.
Go to that high ground. Go take it. Do not sit back here. Go up high ground. Go with your Junkrat. Okay, well, it's all about the movement. Wait here. Leave. Okay.
Soothing your wounds. Shouldn't have put your head there.
If she engages past the bridge, I would ult her. Ooh. I hate to see it. Well, they really changed up on you. That Pharah's had 2 ults before your visor. For reference.
I'm still fighting.
Now you'll probably panic ult here.
I've got you in my sights. For everyone.
Some value, but you're gonna struggle against him.
Let them out. You'll be safe in here.
Nice.
Fire.
Watch your back.
You should use that window. I mean, it's not probably the best window, but it's probably better than no window.
Meet your fate.
Orisa ulted nothing, unfortunately.
They can't get away with this.
Sorry, I'm a little tired. Forgive me. mechanical aim I work on.
Thanks.
You're fine.
You're missing a lot of shots.
Come get healed.
Let the Kitsune go! Repositioning.
I just wanted to see.
Let the Kitsune go!
I should have reloaded there. Instead of sprinting.
Repositioning.
Approaching an area and you have no ammo and you have to reload is suicide. I mean, let's be honest. That was you had no you didn't have any ammo. You needed to reload, and you were like, I'm gonna push forward. I'm gonna go like contest this space, right? If you're gonna go into a space, you should be ready to fight for it, and you were not ready to fight for it. You were you had no ammo. You had a reuse missile. When we talk about setting yourself up for success, it's like being in good positions, like being ready to engage the enemy, and like prioritizing your targets. Like that's setting yourself up for like knowing who you want to aim at. Setting yourself up for failure is going into a fight unprepared, going into a fight without cooldowns, being in a bad position, and wasting resources on usually what's already a lost fight.
Baptiste,
right?
I rubbed some dirt on it. Let's go.
Like
Is approaching its destination.
Justice!
the fight was the game was already kind of over at that point, so that ending thing doesn't really matter. Like they're just committing resources to make sure you guys don't touch again. Whatever. Yeah, so the main takeaways I would get is you need to set yourself up for more success. And some of that is like using high ground, making sure you're prioritizing the right targets, making sure your ammo's reloaded. There was a couple different times where it felt like your ammo management was poor. Like you're not reloading. Like reload first, then you can move around. Like do it while you're safe, instead of trying to move into an area that's unsafe and then reloading, because that you're wasting so much of your life. Like, especially if the enemy knows where you are, it's kind of not going to work out well for you. In terms of dealing with the Pharah, Pharah can be a little tough for Soldier, especially if she's like kind of being pocketed. Like Wife Weaver can kind of do that from the ground, so he doesn't really need like he doesn't need to be near her, so it's kind of like less obvious that she's being helped a lot by her healer. But in those instances, you just have to be in an area where she has to like commit around, like away from her, like her supports and stuff, to help prevent that. You don't need to be so close to the enemy. You did kind of get chased down by Ramastra a couple of times, and he got great value out of that. You had trouble dodging his like, you know, like make it hard for the Ramastra to aim, right? So I think if you know you're like under threat, you like he's really close and he's like in Nemesis form, you have a better chance of dodging him by like just not trying to shoot him and just like running away. Like reload and run, or just run and then run to somewhere where you can reload. Like just full sprint and try to put as many corners as you can between you and him. You just run away. Yeah, you don't have to fight him. You don't have to get that kill. You can just get away from him. Okay, yeah, and then other than that, I think I kind of covered it. I check, maybe try like a free aim trainer or something to like practice on your aiming a little bit more. I think you have great senses. Like it seemed like you, like even when I was replaying it, I felt like you kind of like you're hearing the sound cues, which is like already above like most metal ring players, like you're hearing those things and like you're responding to them, and like it seems like you have a good sense of like where players are going to be or like what sight lines are going to be important, but you're not setting yourself up for success in those regards. Like I'll reaffirm it here. Like I think this is so critical. Is it here? Like by not taking advantage of the high ground, you don't know this Reaper is just like creeping up here, right? And see how he's like not rushing to get into this game? He's just like waiting for his opportune moment. Like sure, that's like a very Reaper thing to do, but it's also like a not bronze player thing to do. Like he is just sitting there. He knows that if he makes too much noise, everyone's gonna know. So he's like playing his chill, but he also knows that no one's really checking up here because you guys haven't really been using the high ground. So he's taking advantage of that to look for his best opportunity. Like he literally breaks that, and he's just like, yeah, well, I can set up and I can probably create some value here, stuff like that. Like this is what you should like look at these players and like take note. Like because if this was a soldier and you were about to ult, look how good it is. Where's Moira going to go? She's going to go to the cart, right? So all the enemies are going this way, and so now you're going to be on their back foot. So they're not going to want to turn around to deal with you, but because they have to go this way. But now you expose all of them in this really long sight line. Like this guy is playing above his level. Like at the moment, like reaping there was, or going to the Wraith form there was a waste. But some Reapers that's like a bad habit, right? Is to use a resource before you ult. But that's what I'm trying to get at is like, look for these things and think it's like, how can I incorporate that into my gameplay? If you feel like you've really lost a game or like an enemy is just dominating you, take the time, look through I'm not going to do it in this playthrough, but I would recommend going back to this and watching the person who gave you also a lot of trouble, this Reaper, or excuse me, Pharah Echo player. Watch the game from their perspective. See why they decided to do what they did to fight you. We'll just go over one quick glance here, and it's the not this one. I don't really care that much about that moment. I care about this ending moment where you guys were kind of fighting here. Yeah, let's just watch this for a quick. We'll just watch this for a quick second, just to kind of give you a perspective. So like, she's kind of panicking, right? She's like, oh, it's like, oh, it's kind of, but I'm getting value out of my rockets. Like I'm shooting rockets and I'm getting hits, right? So she's like, okay, I'm gonna try to go on that. Oh, she gets her value. Yeah, and like, see, she's reloaded. She's ready to take that fight. And she sees you. I know it's like this is all happening really fast, but if we watch it at half speed, maybe it'll help. So like, she sees you, and you're shooting, right? Okay. I rewound a little too far because everyone's alive again. Right?
Excellent team.
She's looking to create value. Yep. What? Whoa. And this rocket's nice, yeah. So it gets another double. She secures that. So she reloads. She sees you, and you're not shooting. And if she's like decent, she's like, she noticed that you're like reloading, right? So she goes for this like wide swing on you, like even though she's like really close, but she's basically forcing you to like throw your mouse to like turn around and hit her, right?
And shooting.
So this is kind of what happens. And she's got ult in the tank. So this was already kind of, you guys, they kind of snowballed you out of control, but that's just what happens. But I would say watch from their perspective and kind of see like what caused her to have these opportunities. Like her team's with her, you know, she's got like good, like she's not taking angles that like her Lifeweaver can't see her from. Like she never comes to your side. She just kind of stays on hers around the cart area and like up high. So, you know, like she set herself up to do well in that fight. Blah, blah, blah. You know, like these little things. And like kind of try to think of it. It's like, okay, well, it's like, how would I counter that? It's like, well, range is usually the best option. So like you were playing at this corner, right? And it's like, oh, this corner is valuable, but you guys had to like hear to the card. So if you had to give it up, you can certainly be out in this area, like over here or around here, or like using these to like, or like even there to like help try to keep longer ranges, because you can react to rockets faster. If Pharah's point blank next to you, then you're probably not going to win that fight, because she can do way more burst damage than you, right? So, but yeah, aiming, don't like setting yourself up for success. I say these are like the big things that are holding you back. I think you have good game sense, or at least you're building some good ground fundamentals. Like, but I think you have some bad habits, like running at the enemy when you don't have ammo is pretty bad. Not using your ult enough is another one. Use your ult more. Use it way more. Like, it's okay if it's just one person. It really is, especially if it's the flying unit that no one else can hit. Like, your team kind of looks to you on that composition, for example, to kill the enemy flying unit. And what better ultimate to you? Like, what ability better than the one that makes it so you can't miss, right? Use that, put the Pharah out of her misery, make her life hell. You know, that's okay. So yeah, if you even just kill just Pharah, it's more than beneficial. Okay, I think that's enough for this VOD. If you have any questions, let me know.